You ever notice how fear doesn't always come crashing in? Sometimes it just leaks, quiet, patient, a sliver of something wrong that shouldn't be there. That's how it started for me. A thin line of light under the door. I live alone, or at least I used to. Small house, single story, out on the edge of town. Nothing special. The kind of place where the nights stretch wide and empty, and every sound has room to echo. It was last winter when I noticed it. I woke up around 3 in the morning for no reason, no dream, no sound, just awake. The house was dead quiet. Then I saw it, a pale strip of light shining from under the door to the guest room. It wasn't bright like a lamp or a flashlight. It was soft, steady, like the light behind your eyelids when you're facing the sun. Thing is, that room didn't have a light bulb. I'd taken it out months earlier when the fixture started flickering. I figured maybe it was my phone screen or a car outside. I got up, barefoot, heart doing that slow, heavy thump. The closer I walked, the more wrong it felt. That light, it wasn't spilling out like light. It was pressing out, like it had weight. I reached for the knob, but the air near the door felt warmer. The faintest hum came from behind it, the kind you feel in your teeth more than you hear. I told myself, don't be stupid. Probably an electrical short, some kind of glow from the old socket. I turned the knob. The door wouldn't budge. It wasn't locked. It just wouldn't move, like something was holding it from the other side. The next night, same thing. 3 in the morning, the light again. I didn't go near it this time, just sat on the edge of my bed, staring at that thin golden line cutting through the dark hallway. Then came the knock, soft, measured, from inside the room. I froze, counted the seconds between each knock, 5 seconds apart, 4 times total. Then silence. I stayed awake until sunrise. Lights on, coffee in hand, pretending it hadn't happened. You know how sometimes something happens and it feels like you've been here before? That deja vu that makes your stomach twist? When I was a kid, my brother and I used to stay at our grandparents' farmhouse. The hallway there had a door we were told never to open. Grandpa said it was the root cellar, but even then I knew he was lying. At night, we'd see a faint light under it. Same color, same slow flicker. My brother used to joke, maybe that's where the angels sleep. He died when I was 12. By the 3rd night, I couldn't take it anymore. I called my friend Carla, she's an electrician, told her I thought a wire might be shorting and glowing. She came by the next afternoon, tested everything. Nothing wrong. The socket wasn't even connected to power anymore. You sure it's not just headlights? She asked. I said nothing, just nodded. She left around 5. I locked every window, every door. When night fell, I turned off all the lights, just to see if it would happen again. And sure enough, there it was, that faint familiar light. Around 3:17 a.m., the humming returned. Then, through the crack under the door, I heard movement, slow dragging movement, something brushing across the floorboards. Then, my name. Not whispered exactly, more like breathed. I backed away step by step until I hit the wall. The light grew brighter, spilling wider. My shadow stretched long across the hallway. Then, for a moment, I swear I saw a second shadow under the door. It moved in time with mine, but slower. I don't remember deciding to open it. I just know I did. The door gave way this time, swinging in smooth and silent. The room was dark, no furniture, no window, just empty space. But there, right in the center of the floor, was a thin rectangle of light, a door lying flat, glowing around the edges, like the floor was holding something beneath it. The hum was louder now, and I realized it wasn't mechanical. It was a pulse, a heartbeat, and it was matching mine. I should have run, called someone, but curiosity's a funny thing. It wears the same face as bravery until it's too late. I knelt down, fingers trembling, and touched the edge of that glowing outline. It was warm, alive somehow. The second my hand brushed it, The light blinked, like an eye closing. The hum stopped. The whole house went black. When my vision adjusted, the door beneath the floor was gone, but the light had moved. It was leaking now, from under my bedroom door. I don't sleep much anymore. I tried moving out once, but the new place, first night there, the same thing. A soft glow slipping from under the door to the guest room. Sometimes it shifts to the bathroom. Once it came from the closet. Wherever I go, it follows. And every night at 3, I see that line of light appear, and I sit there watching, waiting for it to fade. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if I let it in. But then I remember my brother and the light under that door. You ever hear something so faint you're not sure it's real until you notice it's matching your heartbeat? That's how it started. A low, steady hum. I thought it was the furnace. It wasn't. The first time I heard it, I'd been in the house for a week. It was an old 2-story place inherited from my uncle after he passed. The kind of house that smells like dust and memory. I was in the kitchen making coffee when I noticed it. A deep vibration running under everything. Not loud but constant, like standing next to a giant engine buried miles below. I unplugged the fridge, checked the heater. The sound didn't stop. It came from beneath my feet. The basement door was in the hallway, half hidden behind a coat rack. I hadn't opened it since moving in. The realtor said it was just storage, and I believed her. That morning, though, curiosity won. I switched on the light. The bulb at the top of the stairs flickered weakly, spilling a pale orange glow over the steps. The hum grew louder with each step I took down. It wasn't exactly a noise. It was a feeling, a vibration that crawled through the soles of my feet, into my bones. When I reached the bottom, I saw the old furnace sitting in the corner. It wasn't running. It hadn't been in years, but the hum was strongest there. I called a repair guy the next day. He came by with a clipboard, and that board seen it all look. He ran tests, tapped pipes, checked vents. Then he frowned. "There's no power running to this unit," he said. "You sure you're hearing it from here?" I told him to listen. He knelt down, pressed his ear to the concrete floor. After a few seconds, he stood up fast, pale. "Yeah, I hear it, but it's not electrical." He gave a nervous laugh. "Probably groundwater or vibration from traffic." There was no traffic. The nearest road was half a mile away. He left and didn't charge me. Said he didn't want to mess with old wiring. That's when it got worse. At night, the hum grew deeper, fuller, almost like breathing. It wasn't constant anymore. It had a rhythm. Inhale, exhale. Sometimes it would pause, just for a second, long enough for me to hope it was gone. Then it would start again, closer, heavier. I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house felt like a sigh. The walls seemed to tighten with each pulse. One night lying in bed, I realized something. The hum wasn't coming from the basement anymore. It was coming through the walls. I tried recording it. My phone picked up nothing but silence. I even called my friend Rachel. She works in audio production, used to weird noises. She came over one evening with her equipment, mics, filters, the works. We sat in the basement for 2 hours. Nothing, not a sound. As soon as she left, it started again. The next morning she called me, said when she was checking her audio files, she heard something faint under the static, not a hum, a voice. She sent the clip. It was just a few seconds, but I'll never forget it. A slow whispering word, home. That word stuck in my head, home. I started noticing things, small at first. The floor seemed to rise and fall, ever so slightly, like a chest breathing. My reflection in the window would sometimes lag behind my movements, and when I stood still, really still, I could feel the pulse beneath the floorboards, syncing with my heartbeat. By the end of the week, I stopped trying to fight it. I couldn't tell if the sound was in my ears or my head. Every time I left the house, the silence outside felt too sharp, too wrong, like stepping out of a womb into air that didn't belong to me. I started missing the hum. 3 nights ago, the power went out, total darkness, but the hum didn't stop. It grew louder, so loud I felt it vibrating my ribs. I grabbed a flashlight and stumbled downstairs. The basement light flickered on for just a second, long enough for me to see the concrete floor moving, not shaking, breathing. The furnace split open like a mouth yawning, and warm air rushed out, hot and wet. The hum turned into a single deep exhale that filled the whole house. And then, I swear to God, the walls inhaled. The air vanished from my lungs. My flashlight dropped. The floor shifted, folding up beneath me, soft and warm like skin. The hum wrapped around me, thick and rhythmic, until I couldn't tell if I was inside it or it was inside me. I woke up in bed the next morning, sunlight through the curtains. Everything looked normal, except the walls were different, warmer. The paint pulsed faintly, like veins under skin. When I pressed my ear to the floor, I heard the hum again, faint, steady, familiar, breathing, matching my own. I don't leave the house anymore. I don't think I can. Sometimes I wonder if it's still standing out there, or if it's something else now, something alive. Sometimes late at night I whisper, just to hear it answer back, and every time I breathe, the walls move with me, like we're sharing lungs, like we're one thing now, home. You ever hear your own voice when you're home alone? Not an echo, not a memory. Your exact voice coming from another room. That's how it began. I just moved in after the divorce. Small 2-story on the outskirts of Portland. Quiet street, big trees, good bones, as the realtor said. The first night was fine. Second night too. But by the third, I started noticing the noise in the vents. It wasn't the normal hum of air or the rattle of old metal. It sounded deliberate, like whispering carried through the ducts, fading in and out. At first I thought it was the neighbors. Thin walls maybe, but at 2 a.m. I followed the sound to the vent above my bed and froze. It was my voice. You awake? That's what it said. Soft, familiar, exact. I remember sitting up slowly, trying to tell myself it was imagination or sleep paralysis, but then it said it again, slightly amused this time. You shouldn't be up yet. The whisper slid through the vent, carrying a warmth that felt too close. I leaned toward the grate, whispering, "Who's there?" Silence. Then, from deep in the ductwork, "You are." That's when I realized I'd been holding my breath. The next morning, I went next door to introduce myself, partly to make sure I wasn't losing it. The woman there, Clara, was mid-50s, gray hair, smoker's laugh. When I mentioned the noise, she went quiet. "Ah," she said finally, lighting another cigarette. "You got the old Geller house, huh?" I nodded. She blew smoke toward the street. "Don't go messing with the furnace. Folks who try always end up hearing things they shouldn't." I tried to laugh it off. Voices in the vents, right? She didn't laugh back, just said, "If you hear your name, don't answer." That night I covered the vent with a towel, slept with earbuds in. Didn't help. Around 3 in the morning, the whisper came again, this time through the floor vent near the hallway. "You're walking now." I froze. I wasn't. I was lying completely still. But then, from the living room below, I heard footsteps, my footsteps, slow, deliberate, matching my usual gait. The boards creaked in all the familiar spots. And then the voice spoke again, low and proud. "Told you you'd be up soon." The next day, I set up my phone by the vent to record overnight. 8 hours later, I checked the playback. For the first 5 minutes, nothing. Then faint movement, the sound of breathing. Then me, my own voice, recorded crystal clear. Only it wasn't any phrase I remembered saying. It said, I don't like it when he sleeps here. He still thinks it's his house. A second voice responded, also me, but rougher, deeper. He'll learn. Then metal scraping, and a wet sound like something dragging through the ducts. The recording ended there. By then I couldn't focus on work or food. The whole house felt charged, like it was listening. So I decided to go into the basement and check the furnace myself. The air was thick and warm down there, the way old basements always are. I aimed my flashlight at the rusted furnace. It looked ancient, patched with sheet metal and duct tape. The hum was steady, but I could swear it was breathing. I knelt to look closer, and the vent flap opened on its own, letting out a faint exhale that smelled like burnt dust and something sweet. Skin, maybe? Then, from inside the duct, I heard my voice again. Not an echo this time. A conversation. He's listening. Good. I shined my flashlight into the vent, and for a split second I saw movement, a pale reflection of my own face staring back, grinning too wide. I ran upstairs, slammed the basement door, shoved a chair against it. The house creaked around me, like it was settling deeper into itself. The vents began to hum, every one of them. From each room came a faint whisper, hundreds of versions of my voice overlapping, laughing softly. You finally sound like us. I shouted for them to stop, to get out. The laughter rose higher, metal vibrating, air rushing through every duct at once. Then the furnace roared. The heat kicked on, blasting air through the vents so hard it shook the walls. My own voice screamed from every room, panicked, pleading, like the sound of a recording played backward. And then it all stopped. Silence. The furnace clicked off. The air smelled different, warmer, more human somehow. It's been 3 weeks since then. I haven't heard anything else. Not really. But sometimes when I speak, my words feel slightly delayed, like they've already been said. The mirrors in this house reflect a face that looks like mine, but not quite. The eyes linger a second longer than they should. Last night, the vent near my bed rattled softly, and a familiar voice whispered, "You're doing better now." The others took longer. I smiled before I realized I was smiling. The furnace kicked on again, humming contently, and for a moment, I could feel the heat inside me, moving in rhythm, breathing in sync, the house and I keeping each other warm.